we will go ahead and get started then. So thank you for joining us for our webinar series on Newline and Zoom. I'm Ellen, the product training specialist here. We also have a group from our commercial team as well on the call to help answer any questions that come up. Again, ask any of those questions that arise in the Q&A button within Zoom, and we'll answer those towards the end here. So as far as Newline goes, if you are familiar with our products, or even if you are not, a big thing about us is that we are non-proprietary. And what that means is, to us, it doesn't matter what software, what websites, any content that you want to display on our panels, you can. Now today, what I'm going to show is one of those software that you can use, pieces of software you can use called Zoom. We recently announced that we have a partnership with Zoom. So I'm just going to go through some of the tools that you can use with our panels when it comes to Zoom. So right now I have a Zoom open on my panel here. I have Zoom downloaded onto an onboard computer. Again, that's a slot PC that can come with our panels and use as well. Now, to demonstrate this, I want to point out that I am using a completely different Zoom account just to demonstrate what's going on. So you're on a Zoom call, watching a Zoom call is kind of what's going to be going on here. So I will need a volunteer to share some content. So if you could figure out how to raise your hand within Zoom here, Steve Bush is going to check the panelist list and see someone who can volunteer to share some content for us. So Steve?
I'm looking.
If there's no volunteers, just call them out.
Yeah, I don't see any volunteers yet. Come on, guys.
Everybody all at once.
Anybody?
Anybody?
Oh, we got somebody.
We got Mr. Glass.
My good friend, Kevin Glosson. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. All right. So the point of what I'm going to do now is just to share with you how easy it is to use Zoom with our panels, to download and share content as well. So Kevin, if you can download the Zoom app, if you haven't already, and once you download that, it's going to ask you for a meeting ID, and I'm going to give that to you in a second.
And you want him to download the Zoom app on his phone or his tablet? Is that what you're saying?
On his phone, yeah.
It's probably best,
On his phone? Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
So,
yes, on your phone.
iOS store or Android store, the Google Play Store, it's available.
Mm-hmm. And you do not need to make an account. Once you download that, it's just going to ask you to join the meeting. And from there, you can see here that there is a meeting ID. You'll enter that in as information, and I'll read that off as well. The meeting ID number is 934-981-0793. And we'll give you a second to connect here. So again, just to recap what's going on, Kevin is downloading the Zoom app, whether that's on his phone or his tablet, and entering in the meeting ID information. Now, to join the session, you do not have to have a Zoom account or anything like that. You can just log in with that meeting information. Patrick is not Kevin, but Patrick has joined as well. Unless he's tricking us in naming himself Patrick.
which would be funny.
Yes.
Like spelling my last name.
Yeah. Again, that meeting ID is 934-981-0793.
All right, and I already have the app, so I'm just gonna hit join on my side.
Okay, Patrick, then.
And I'm gonna enter
93.
Stop moving around. I can't, my eyes aren't that good. Don't do that.
I know, that's why I was going to read it to you.
I'm too old. I'm not that old. Goodness. All right, I'm going to join the meeting too.
Okay,
Let's put it in the chat.
good idea. All right. Denise has joined. Very nice side profile, Steve.
It's my best side. but the other side's not that great either. So they're.
All right, Kevin, I'm going to read this off to you one more time.
He's still downloading, I think, the app. But yes,
Okay.
It is Zoom Cloud Meeting. And we can kind of jump. He can jump in a second, but if you want to go ahead, I can kind of demonstrate what we're trying to show everyone here, Ellen.
Okay, so Patrick, then if you on your phone want to just tap on the screen and select the share content button. And then from there, select photos. Now, this next step is going to be a little bit complicated. So Patrick, find a group appropriate photo to share with us, please. I know it's pretty tough there. Thank you. Hopefully no one can see that one quite as well.
Let me rotate my phone.
So yeah, rotate it. That's much better that way.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. So Patrick, now, as you can see me, there you go. All right, so Patrick, it looks like you've done it already, but just tap on the screen and then there is a pen. I can't look at this. And then tap on the pen and go ahead and write on here. Now, I am, as the host, just going to select view options and select annotate. And I'm going to grab a pen as well. And you can see that I can write on top of this as well. So again, just demonstrating that Patrick is able to share content from his phone or any device that he has onto my Zoom call, and I have the ability to annotate and work with him on that. Now, if I want to, because I definitely want to save this photo of myself, I can select save, and it's going to download this image with the writing locally to my onboard computer that I have here. So here, if I select show in folder, it's going to save as a PNG onto my onboard computer there. Again, thank you, Patrick, for that photo.
You want me to keep sharing, or do you want me to?
No, you can stop. Thank you. That's very nice of you there.
Okay, got it.
The best photo ever.
The best. Don't worry. I will find some photos as well. All right.
So I think Kevin is probably going to be able to jump in here in a second, but really what we were trying to demonstrate is even in a last second situation, if you don't have the Zoom app on your iPad, on your phone, on your laptop, you can just download it. You don't necessarily need an account yourself. Like, you literally don't even have to register for an account. You just need to find out what the meeting ID number is, which when in the same room, Ellen can just tap the screen and she can kind of read it off. It'll be in the top left corner, I think. Mm-hmm. And you can put your name if you want as how to label yourself as a participant. That's how quickly you can jump in and join the session in room, or like what we're doing now, which is have 2 sessions going on because we wanted to be able to share onto her screen right now that the camera is pointed at. Mm-hmm.
All right. Give one more second for Kevin here.
Now, are we going to talk about the breakout room thing, which was new to me? I didn't realize they had the breakout room.
Yeah. So you can see when I tap on the screen here, towards the bottom right, there is a button labeled breakout room. And this feature allows for, instead of having meetings or groups within classes, especially with distance learning right now, it's hard to break up into little groups. So you can do that with the breakout rooms within Zoom. So here, when I tap on it, I can assign my participants to different rooms where they can work in them. So here you can see that I can automatically assign people to different groups, or I can manually do that. And I've got a couple people here. So I'm just going to create a room. And you can see within my breakout room that I have Denise and Patrick in there. All right, Kevin, we see you connected. And I can add them to a room. I can move them to other ones as well. So when I add them to the room, it will essentially take them away from our main meeting space and put them somewhere else. Now, I, as the host, or maybe the instructor or the leader of the meeting, can pop into each of the different rooms and listen in from there. So again, it's a breakout room's a good, really use in any kind of environment that you have there where you want to break things down into smaller groups. It is part of Zoom's paid versions. If you have just the free basic version, it is not included there.
And I heard, we heard about this because someone recently told me for their Avixa training classes, they were using Zoom and put in different breakout rooms and then all brought back to the main room once things resumed in terms of the overriding training session or the credit session. So very useful, again, in training situations, in classes where you can break people into project groups in particular.
Again, those are the breakout rooms. All right, Kevin, it looks like you have joined. So I'm going to try and walk you through what we had Patrick do. So Kevin, if you want to just tap on your screen, you should see a button that says Share Content. And from there, if you touch on that and then select Photos, and then if you can find a group appropriate photo to share up onto the panel here in my Zoom meeting. So again, that is Share Content, Photos, and then find a photo to share with everyone. All right, charcoal chicken. Never heard of it. All right, so now, Kevin, from here, we're going to write on this picture. So if you can tap on the screen again, you should see a blue pen. You tap on that, grab a tool, as well as whatever color you want, and write on there. All right, so it looks like you have picked black and you've circled. I'm going to go ahead and annotate on top of here as well.
And he has another button, if he looks in there deep enough, that will actually thicken up that line, make the line a little bit larger.
Yeah, and a highlighter as well.
And a highlighter, that kind of stuff. But,
yeah, but we're all sharing pictures at the same time. Just know if you were to try this out on your phone or your device, it's looking for a file to share. So it could be a PDF if you are in a presentation and you want to pull up some literature on whatever it is you're presenting. So.
So here again, if I want to save it, I'm just selecting save, and it's going to again save it locally to my onboard computer that I have here. Or if you have your computer plugged into the panel, it will plug it in there too. So thank you, Kevin, for being our volunteer there. That was very nice of you. And then lastly, just to wrap up, there's also something called Zoom Rooms that Zoom has as well. Zoom Rooms is basically a kiosk mode for Zoom. So it basically locks down the panel or whatever you have to just be able to use Zoom. So that can also be used with our panels if you want to. So if you're hosting a Zoom meeting, you can essentially just walk up and immediately start and launch your meeting right from the panel from there. There's also a tablet that you can use in conjunction with it to be able to start your meetings as well, adjust volume, things like that as well. And Patrick, is there anything else as far as Zoom Rooms that you wanted to expand on?
No, it's just, I think one of the important reasons Zoom Room is popular is it keeps things simple, but it does allow maybe your IT department or whoever it is to lock down the entire desktop of the PC. Because again, we're just talking about video conferencing software that is on a computer plugged into our display. Zoom Room, if you, can I share? I think I can share, right? No, I can't.
Yeah.
You won't let me. It says you won't let me. Anyway, Zoom Room, it'll simply have a calendar with different meetings, listed out. You can hit a button and launch that particular meeting. And then again, once you minimize and get out of there, you won't necessarily, if you set it up properly, you won't be able to close out Zoom Room so that when the next person walks in and they don't see the calendar and how to initiate the meeting, considering they may not know how to use Zoom or the touchscreen or anything, the Zoom Room system does keep it, again, very simple, and it allows the IT department to keep it locked into that particular function.
Okay.
And, oh, now you'll let me share. Okay.
You've been granted permission if you'd like.
Yeah, here's a screenshot of what Zoom Room looks like. Nice, clean, simple. Again, you can start an ad hoc meeting by just say start a meeting, and then you can share that number with whoever is on the phone with you. Give them the number, they can jump in. Or you've got scheduled meetings, and like you can see on the left, daily meeting, 10 a.m. You hit the button start, and it launches that meeting, and whoever you sent the invite to will also be there in the room. Very simple. So 2 different ways to do it. We in particular like to use the desktop application a little bit more because we have giant touchscreens, and it's very necessary for us to show how to take the touchscreen and add it into the Zoom environment, because Zoom has built-in annotation features like you've seen. There's everyone from their device that's in the call on a normal Zoom room call, or just a normal Zoom desktop call, not the webinars that we're doing. You would be able to share content. You would be able to annotate from your iPad, your phone, whatever device is in the call itself. And then obviously, if we're all in the same room, that's a great way to be able to share content right there, instead of having to transfer the file from your laptop to the wherever, or from your phone to the screen. And then you can walk up and annotate on top of that content. And then, like Ellen showed you, you can save that image right away of the PDF, the picture, the architectural drawing that you shared. You can save it with the annotations and then basically hand it out to everyone.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share real quick.
And I only see one question right now. Alex, are you monitoring that?
I am, and we do have one question. So whenever we're ready for questions, we can start with those.
Unless anyone else from Newline has something to add, I am ready to address some questions.
So the one question we have is, do educational accounts have to pay for Zoom? My understanding is that right now Zoom is providing free full-fledged accounts for educational institutions to be used during this time. I'm not sure exactly how that works, so if anybody else knows from our panel, please chime in and let us know how that works. And if anybody has any other questions, please type them in the question and answer field.
I will chime in on the lowest cost way to take advantage of the way Zoom is set up currently. For example, Newline, we have basically a bunch of free accounts from an individual perspective. Like, my Zoom account has been free for the last 5 years. I haven't paid a dime. And the way we're able to have longer meetings is that the Newline office has purchased a couple of pro licenses that is the primary host. And then we can go for hours if we need to, as long as they set up the call. I, again, can just join in with my free account. There's no necessary everyone individually having to have their own account. And I guess from an education standpoint, students could probably do the exact same thing. If they want to host their own meetings, if I wanted to host my own meeting, I'm limited to 40 minutes total time. But then again, if we're at 40 minutes and we want to keep going, maybe I just end the call and then we just start over and I give you another meeting ID number. Like, this is kind of my way of saying there are a lot of ways to keep going with Zoom and not necessarily pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I bet you somebody quicker than me can look up the details on the free service that they were having. My memory serves, it was like during the beginning of the pandemic, they said they would give everybody, was it 90 days free service?
Yeah, I think you're right. Something like that for their full pro license. Yeah.
Yeah, for the full license. That's right. But otherwise, yes, you can just do the free license, 40 minutes. then the session will count down and say, we're about to turn off, and then you can restart the session if you wanted to. So that'd be the free way to do it.
And there are obviously more things involved with the paid license versus the free one I have. And some of the more important things are security levels. So us at Newline, like me, I could care less if someone kind of Zoom bombs me during one of my meetings, because I don't think anyone cares to jump into any of my meetings. But Newline in particular, when we're having our sales team meetings, yes, we want a little bit added level of security. So that is why we do have the pro level stuff.
So Mike has replied and says that he did look it up, and it says that education is free during the pandemic. The account would be through Zoom, so it really depends on how they require the setup for that. So that's that. We have another question from Jerry, or Gerald, it looks like here. Curious, we have a number of Newline X series units in our conference rooms. How do we convert one of them into a Zoom room unit only? Patrick?
Yeah, I think that's pretty simple in terms of, it sounds like you want to lock down the system, which again, if you talk to Zoom and you basically acquire the Zoom room licenses, once you get everything set up in terms of syncing up the Exchange account with the display, and it's, have everything coordinated in terms of Outlook and Exchange and then Zoom, there is literally a button in settings that says kiosk mode. And once you turn that on, you have to have, you basically set a PIN number so that you can then minimize Zoom room. Otherwise, Zoom room is up and you can't change it. And once you boot up the display and its onboard computer for the X series, that's basically what you're going to see until you have the PIN number that allows you to minimize the software and then get into the desktop. So that's how you could turn it into a Zoom room only machine. And that's kind of the reason why a lot of people use Newline X series units as opposed to some of the other stuff that's out there that only works with Zoom or only works with Microsoft products or only works with Cisco and WebEx, is because our stuff can do all of those. You can lock down our displays however you want in terms of an IT perspective. But for Zoom in particular, you take Zoom Room, load it on, and then again, you turn on kiosk mode, and it is a Zoom Room machine only until you give someone the PIN number so they can do something else.
Great. David Barnes has asked, the configuration that you are using for this meeting is just what we would need for our firm to do our teaching sessions. I'd be interested in understanding how to set this meeting up, meeting type. David, yes, we do have the information on how to set up this type of configuration, and we do have all the parts and all the information needed. If you can reach out to your specific regional sales manager, we can provide that to you. Patrick, is there anything you'd like to add, or Stephen, on this specific setup and how we do it?
Well, this specific setup, I assume he means being able to see the desktop and the presenter at the same time. We're actually going to have a webinar on the 11th to discuss this specifically. We'll make sure to get everybody an invite for that. But essentially what we're doing here is we're taking a screen capture card, which is an inexpensive little device that we don't sell personally, but we've got connections we could help you with, and a free piece of software that often gamers who want to record themselves playing Minecraft or whatever use. And being free, it's a pretty good price. And we combine those two things together, and we can do all kinds of custom looks to the screen, whether it's resizing things or changing the verbiage that you see displayed and adding icons, etc. But we'll be going through all that on the 11th.
Yeah.
All right. So does anybody have any other additional questions? And also, David, if you do not know who your regional sales manager is, just type in your location in the question and answer, and we'll provide you who the correct person is.
All right. And I do want to thank you for joining us for our webinar here today. Just to let you know, we have another webinar coming up on July 15th. It's going to be about huddle spaces and using one of our panels, the IP series, with that. So please go ahead and go to our website and you can sign up for that webinar as well. Again, if you have any questions after this webinar, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the bottom right-hand corner. This also is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so you can check out this content as well. Thank you.